I'd like to show you an alternative way in which to solve a linear decimal equation. Let's take a look at a typical decimal equation. Notice we have our decimals. Now, one way that you've learned how to solve a problem like this, in this case you could multiply every term by 100. That would move the decimals over. You get rid of the decimals, and then you solve it just like a normal linear equation. I'm going to show you how to do this equation without having to multiply by 100. I highly recommend that you have a calculator handy when you do it this way. Okay, so let's go ahead and distribute this negative 0.2. So we get 0.1x minus 0.2x, and then plus 0.6. Remember, negative 0.2 times a negative 0.3 is a positive 0.6, equals 0.32. All right. Now let's go ahead and combine our x terms. 0.1x minus 0.2x is a negative 0.1x, plus 0.6 equals 0.32. Okay. We're getting closer. We want to isolate the variable x, so let's go ahead and subtract 0.6 from both sides. Negative 0.1x. Let's go ahead and use our calculator to determine what 0.32 minus 0.6 is. 0.32 minus 0.6 is a negative 0.28. Now, some of you can do that in your head, and that's great, but you might want to just have a calculator handy just in case. Okay. Now, the last step, to solve for x, we simply divide both sides by a negative 0.1. So x is equal to negative 0.28 over negative 0.1. Okay. Let's go ahead and simplify. The negatives certainly cancel each other. So 0.28 over 0.1. Now that's an okay answer. Probably not the answer that is in the back of your book. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take 0.28 divided by 0.1. And the answer is 2.8. Now you should always check your work. Now we can go ahead and check by plugging 0.28 back in for x, multiply it out, and see if you get 0.32. Okay, I won't do that in this problem, but you should go ahead and double check, make sure that you did it correctly. Let's try one more example. Okay, again, you might want to use the other method in which you'd have to multiply everything by 100 to clear the decimals. But if you don't want to clear the decimals, that's okay. So let's go ahead and use our distributive property again. So 0.24 times x gives us 0.24x minus 0.24 plus 0.2 equals 0.15x plus 0.30. Okay. Let's go ahead and simplify the left-hand side. 0.24x. Now, negative 0.24 plus 0.2 is a negative 0.04. Again, you might want to have your calculator handy. Okay. Now, our goal is to solve for x. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 0.15x from both sides to move the x's over here, and I'll add 0.04 to the right side. So we'll add 0.04 to both sides here. Okay. 0.24x minus 0.15x is a positive 0.09x. These cancel. These cancel. And we get 0.34 on the right. Now we're ready to solve. Divide both sides by 0.09. And we get x equals 0.34 over 0.09. And if we want to represent that as a nice decimal, 0.34 divided 0.09 gives us 3.7. Notice that it repeats. So we can represent that as a 3.7 with a line or a bar over the 7. Okay? Now, you could also say, well, you could move the decimals over 2 places and represent this fraction as 34/9. Either way. So when you check the answers in the back of the book, it may say 34/9. It may say 3.7 with the repeating 7. Now, if you have any questions or you don't know which method you should use, make sure that you talk to your focus group teacher.